My name is Elizabeth Rotolo. Welcome. It is highly likely that many of you have been receiving emails from me for a hot second here. So this is the face behind all the emails. I am the Senior Associate Director of Graduate Programs for Working Professionals, which is the longest title I have ever had and translates to I am the primary recruiter and academic advisor for Bentley's professional MBA program. And I'm joined, Emma, do you want to say hi and introduce yourself as well?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Emma. I am Executive Director of Strategic Programs here at Bentley. I work really closely with Elizabeth to recruit for this program, but I have the added joy of supporting our faculty in their implementation of the program, both from a curricular perspective and from an experiential perspective. And so both Elizabeth and I are a one-two punch of information about this program. And so I promise you, if you have any questions about the professional MBA, you have two people in front of you who are able to answer them.
Lovely. Emma's going to help me monitor the chat today, so feel free to drop questions in there, use the Q&A feature, unmute yourself and ask if you're feeling brave. But kind of whatever works best for you, works for us. And that is enough about me. What I'm more curious about is all of you and why you chose this info session. So if you happen to have a pen and paper near you, or even just, a notes app on your phone, take a minute to write down why are you interested in an MBA and why now? And if you're feeling super brave, feel free to use the chat feature to answer that question. Because people come to Bentley, come to the professional MBA for all sorts of reasons. And as somebody who's been in higher ed for decades, I have found that when people are really clear about why they are joining a campus community, it really changes the experience in positive ways. So I'm curious to know why? Why an MBA? Why is this the right moment in your career? Why Bentley of all places? And if you don't have an answer to those three questions yet, that is fine. If you do, again, feel free to toss one in the chat. But my hope is that by the end of the hour, there might be some clarity if some of those questions aren't quite yet answered for you. Um, I love reflective writing questions. Our current students will tell you that. So that same question was posed to our current cohort shortly before they joined us. And so I had asked our fall 2025 starts, why is it that you decided to join the professional MBA? And these were some of their answers. So networking as well as understanding business needs. One thing we're going to talk a lot about a lot during the hour is that there's the academic curricular component to this program, but also the networking component. And I love that for a lot of the students, valuing both of those was something that was really central in their choice to join us. Becoming a more well-rounded professional in hopes of continued upward growth. You will probably get sick of hearing me say the term accelerate your career throughout this presentation because every aspect of our curriculum is designed to, in fact, help you accelerate your career, whether that's accelerating up in your industry, a pivot over to a new industry or functional area. We are looking at career acceleration. Hoping to learn new skills, principles, and strategies to be a better manager. Many people are in a new supervisory role or aspiring to a supervisory role, and thinking, all right, I have this band of ragamuffins that I'm in charge of now. How am I going to help motivate them to do their best work, to grow as professionals, to leverage their strengths? And there are a lot of ways in our program to learn tips and tools to not only be a better professional yourself, but to help manage others. Understanding how companies are embracing new technology. Who's been on LinkedIn lately and seen all the stories about AI is taking our jobs and it's shifting our industry and it's a problem? We're going to talk a lot about emerging technology and how that is incorporated in the curriculum, both philosophically, but also tactily. You will get a chance to play with it. Being equipped to affect positive change in any organization. Bentley's motto is business for good. We are thinking not just about profit. Yes, money is important, financial literacy and stability is important, but Bentley talks a lot about the three P's, which is person, planet, and profit. So we are looking for people that want to do some good in the world, in whatever industry, functional area, or sector that's in. And then my final example from our cohort was a better sense of how to make informed decisions using business concepts and technology. Again, we are looking for people that are eager to become cross-functional leaders, who want to be able to speak the language of other departments, who want to be able to use that emerging technology that seems to be emerging on a weekly basis to be savvy decision makers in their organizations. So if any of these sound remotely like what you might have written down, on why your MBA, why now, you will be in good company with our current cohort.
Elizabeth, one other thing that came up in the chat that I think
Ooh,
you would
yes.
love, and is absolutely something we see in this kind of program in particular, since it is specifically designed for mid-career professionals, is we have a lot of folks that come from non-traditional business backgrounds. So maybe they've been really strong individual contributors, like Carrie in biopharma, so in the sciences. We have people that are really solid engineers or really solid I'm trying to think of other examples that we have, marketers who then say, I want to add a business understanding on top of this kind of extraordinarily and strong technical individual contribution I've been able to put forth, such that I can then, as Elizabeth said, accelerate my career and do something a little different, right? I don't want to only be pigeonholed in this technical way. I want to broaden my aperture. And so Elizabeth will talk a little bit about the makeup of our cohort and how very much that fits into the ethos of who we see choose to do this kind of working professional mid-career program.
Well said. Thank you, Emma. So if you, again, leave this session with one thing you remember, it is that Bentley's professional MBA is designed to accelerate your career. You define what direction you're accelerating in. Is it up? Is it over? Is it adjacent? But that is the goal of our program. We'll talk a lot today about the two themes of emerging technology and sustainability. Those are the foundation of the curriculum, which are two employer validated themes. What in the world does employer validated themes mean? So, a few years ago, Bentley went out into the business community and said, all right, folks, what is missing in your next generation leadership? What do you need? What do you not seeing in the market, that business education can help kind of punch up a bit. And these were the two themes that came back over and over again. Again, emerging technology, it is changing at the speed of light. Every few months, some new thing is released, and all of the business leadership needs to find a way to implement it. And so that is a core piece of our curriculum. The other one, organizational sustainability. We are thinking both about organizations, how are you building a business plan that is going to succeed in the long term, but also environmental sustainability. So as we are sourcing products, as we are thinking about circular lifestyle of things, how are we building processes that are going to, not trash the planet? This program, as Emma had mentioned, is optimized for working professionals. So Bentley has a whole suite of MBA programs as well as specialty masters. So if you do, for some reason, leave this session thinking, I don't know that this quite fits with me, we should still chat because we do have other options. But this specific one is built for people who have a few years of work experience coming in. They can bring some real world tactical challenges into the classroom to talk through with same level peers. And the course sequencing, the modality, the class times are designed for people that are working full time. It is not a program requirement, but it is something that is designed with those folks in mind. It is highly specialized in that, in terms of the core requirements or business essentials, that is a smaller piece of the curriculum, which allows more room in your credits, for you to select courses that are really in line with your career acceleration goals. So I will let you all see the course list in a few moments. But there is a lot of room to make this degree your own and again, help you build in the direction you are looking to go. And then finally, the community focused piece. This is a cohort style program, so you all start the program together, and 2 years later, you all graduate together. And this peer-to-peer learning idea, it's not just for building, friendships and professional networking, but it really is a chance. We intentionally design cohorts with people from different industries, different functional areas, which allows you to learn in a very specific way. If it was all marketers or all bankers or all pharmaceutical reps, the learning edges are going to be cut off a little bit. But by having a cohort that intentionally has people from different industries, that learning edge grows, and students are responding really well to that. So let's dig into those two themes that I talked about a little bit more. So the emerging technology piece, you have likely heard about blockchain, AI, machine learning, robotics, augmented reality, virtual reality, surveillance technologies, phishing scams. All of these things are floating out in the universe and impact every industry and every functional area in a different way. So our faculty have all been challenged and enjoyed the chance to bring these components into their various courses, regardless of what the course topic is. So the top photo on this screen was from our kickoff weekend this past August. And this sounds like the beginning of a bad joke, but we've got a defense contractor, a loan officer, and a quality control specialist at a table. And they have all been given some brief training in prompt engineering, some brief training in SPSS statistical software, and a huge public health data set. And they said, all right, friends, take these brief trainings, all of your professional knowledge and this data set, and go find some public health challenges in here. And you've got 4 hours to pitch an app that will help the public confront that challenge. And it was so fun to watch, I have to say. So we had these cross-industry groups, people were bringing in all these different perspectives and using the tools to comb through data, and almost no one in the room had any meaningful training in how to use AI prior to that day. And the things that they came up with were so incredibly cool. And so I think this is a great example of how we're not just talking about AI hypothetically. We're not just offering you, a brief workshop in how to, engineer a good prompt, but really giving you some data to work with and saying, here's some real world application of how to use this technology. In the photo below, that's a picture of our VR lab. And that's something that a lot of the faculty have been having fun designing with in our global management course this past fall. They were talking about, how does management work across different cultural contexts? How can you be a good supervisor and a good leader when you're managing different time zones, different expectations, different cultural norms? And Idris Burdrow, who taught the course and is also our wonderful program director, she actually used the VR headsets to do a cultural immersion exercise and dropped people in different coffee and tea shops around the world to engage in a cultural immersion experience using the VR labs. And so I know that this might be something that's a little unusual, but in the best possible way. You're not only, again, learning about the technology, you're also getting a hands-on opportunity to play with it. Our other theme of sustainability, again, thinking both about environmental and organizational sustainability, is another thing that the students have really been enjoying in the program so far. The top photo there, Ryan Bolden, teaches our sustainable organizations course. He's also been looking at ways to incorporate the headsets this spring, so that folks can get an understanding of when decisions are being made in a boardroom in the US, how are they impacting different communities and how are they impacting the environment in other countries where potentially those products are being sourced. The other faculty photo is MJ, who teaches our accounting essentials, which is coming up this spring. And she's finding interesting ways to go along, how do you balance the balance sheet? But how are you evaluating different companies who are claiming social responsibility, who are claiming ethics and good governance? How are we thinking about accounting, again, in a more complicated, ethical, useful way so that organizations can persist in the long term? My favorite story I've heard that brings these two themes together is there is one of our faculty members who I will not out here publicly, who was very excited to purchase this wonderful car that was meant to be the most sustainable car on the market. It had vegan leather, it was all electric, it was incredible. And the poor company, while they spent all of their time and money on building these wonderful cars, did not think about the full life cycle of the car. And after about 15,000 miles, they started conking out, and there was no plan to service them. And because it was such an unusual car, kind of traditional auto mechanics couldn't help. And so all of a sudden, a company that was so dedicated to environmental sustainability had created tons of junkers, literal and metaphorical tons of junker cars. And so something can be the best, most sustainable idea, but if we're not also thinking about that organizational sustainability component, we're just creating trash. So these are the sorts of things, the sorts of examples you were going to talk about in class. Again, how to be those thoughtful, savvy decision makers across all industries. Yes, now we are finally going to talk about the curriculum, which is why I know so many people signed up for this info session. As we're going through this, as Emma had mentioned, please feel free to drop questions in the Q&A feature or in the chat. We like things to be interactive at Bentley, starting here with our info sessions. But our professional MBA curriculum. So what are you going to do in your 2 years with us? Um, as you look at all of the credits that you will register for across the 2 years, about a third of them are those business essentials. So those core business classes, fundamentals that you're going to find in any MBA program that you look at. About two-thirds are going to be specialization. So those are the courses that you get to choose, again, to build your degree and your academic plan towards the goal that you have set. And you'll find as you compare this to other programs, this is a flip of what a traditional MBA looks like. So most MBA programs focus more on those business essentials with less room for specialization. We're excited that we flipped it on its head to give you as the student more control over your academic plan. The specialization comes from focus areas, skill building workshops, options for individualized coaching. We're going to go through all those options. And it also includes a travel course to include learning in a global context. Not quite like undergraduate study abroad where you're going for a full semester or a full year. Again, we know that you are working professionals with family and other commitments. And so these courses are 8 to 10 day trips abroad and focused on the program themes, again, designed to fit within traditional PTO schedules. So let's see these courses, Emma. As we've mentioned, we are intentionally looking for cross-industry, cross-functional area folks, and that means we also don't need everyone to have come from a business undergrad experience. So we accept people from all majors. You do not have to have majored in business as an undergrad. And because of that, there is some virtual self-paced pre-work that happens the summer before. We'll cover topics like business analytics, financial accounting, economics for managers. This serves two purposes. One, to get everybody comfortable with some foundational business jargon, business concepts, but also, again, because everyone in the program has been out of school for a hot minute. This gives folks a chance to get back into those good student mindset, time management practices, and it's a gentler on-ramp back to school. There are 6 business essentials courses that all of you will take once you arrive at Bentley. They're divvied up across the 5 semesters of the program. These are accounting, digital transformation, finance, organizational effectiveness, marketing, and operations management. Each of those is 1.5 credits. So they're these shorter courses that, again, pack a quick punch, get you the basic information you need about these topics. And then on the next slide, this is where the specialization comes in, my friends. This is the slide that everyone gets all excited about. If you look back again at your why that you wrote down at the top of the hour that we had together, I am willing to bet that something connected to your why is on this screen. Emma knows that my favorite phone call I had this past summer was with someone, and I said, all right, what are you looking for in an MBA? Why now? And she said, well, Elizabeth, I'm really looking to transition into data analytics. I've been doing other stuff, but I know that's the future. That's what I want. I really struggle with communicating with executives and I want to up my skills in that area. Everybody keeps talking about generative AI and I don't really know what that is. I want to learn the tools. And I said, oh, my friend, let me show you the course list. We have data analytics. We have communication skills for an executive level audience. We have mastering generative AI tools for professional excellence. With She had gone through and pretty much listed out our whole curriculum as what she was looking for, and we just sat there laughing. And that's something that I'm finding more and more as I talk to prospective students. Is that our when we did that initial sourcing of business leaders, what are you looking for in your next generation leadership? What they were looking for is really matching what those aspiring leaders are looking for, and we're hoping that this professional MBA can be the bridge. So the focus areas, everyone gets a chance to pick four of six. Those are 6 credits compared to the 1.5 of the business essentials. These are big topics: financial analytics, global management, sustainable organizations, and give you a chance to really do a deep dive with knowledgeable faculty, and do action learning projects, case studies. This is really the heart of the curriculum. Everyone then also gets to choose 3 skills workshops and 3 technology labs. The skills workshops, these are the soft human skills that are increasingly important as you're moving up throughout your career. One that I want to particularly call your attention to is Leadership Accelerator. That is actually a two-parter course. It's wonderful. You do some leadership assessments, you think about your working style, but it also comes with a series of 6 one-on-one executive coaching sessions, which I think is the best homework ever. As those sessions are a chance for you to either do a deeper dive on those leadership assessments, or you can use them for whatever you like. Use it for career coaching. Use it to talk about a problem at work. Use it to talk about, I have this employee that I cannot manage. I'm a new manager. What do I do? Those sessions are yours to use as you would like. On the flip side, the technology labs, again, those are chances for you to get in, get your hands dirty, and really use the tools. SQL, SQL programming. I was a psychology major. I do education. I don't know what that is. But it's becoming increasingly important across industries. So if you have no SQL experience, this might be a good tech lab for you. If you're saying, oh, Elizabeth, I'm the IT specialist on my team, I know all about SQL, then something like digital marketing analytics might be the one that you need. Leveraging technologies might be the thing that you need. Again, this is where there's the specialization as the academic advisor. I love sitting with folks over the summer to map out their courses and, again, how these skills are helping you build in the direction that you're looking to go. And then finally, again, that global travel course, 8 to 10 days. There is a virtual travel option. So if anyone cannot travel for any reason, don't worry, you don't flunk out of the program. We have another option. But the hope is that everyone can go abroad with the cohort, have a chance to explore business concepts in a different cultural context. The 2 choices for this year were a trip to Sweden, looking at emerging technologies, AI, under kind of, a different political, cultural structure, as well as going to a Viking museum and trying Swedish food. And the other trip was to Brazil. That one was more focused on sustainability, meeting with companies there to talk about how technologies are being used with those companies, but also traveling down the Amazon and meeting with some indigenous groups to look at how product sourcing was impacting local communities there. It's a pretty robust trips, I would say, Emma. All right, I'm going to pause here once again to say chat is open. Feel free. Let us know if you have questions. I can't be that clear. I'm sure there have to be questions out there. So that is the what this program is. Let's talk about the how. So how are we getting all of this wonderful knowledge and networking out to you all? One of the really special things about this program is I think we do a good job of blending all of the different program modalities and picking the best of everything. So what do I mean by program modalities? Some people here on the line are looking for that in-person networking. Some people on the line are looking for remote, online, virtual programs. And this one really does have the best of all worlds. So in terms of the in-person, we do have 10 on-campus weekends here in Waltham throughout the 2 years of the program. The quick math on that is it's about 5 times a year. That you'll come, we'll start late Friday afternoon and run through about lunchtime on Sunday. And we have some social time and networking. We also have in-person courses. And so when we're doing things like a cultural immersion exercise in the VR headsets, you actually get to use the headsets in the lab on campus. If you're working on different group projects where maybe you're doing an action learning project, presenting it to a local business, they'll have somebody from the business come in as a guest speaker for the course. And so that's, much more fun in person than doing it remotely. So there, and then of course, the global travel experience also in person. Those are usually followed by what we call some choose your time weeks, otherwise known as asynchronous learning. And so we know we've pulled you away for a weekend, away from family, friends, other community commitments. And so for a week or two afterwards, there might be some group project work, some watch a video and submit a response, things that you can do on your lunchtime, after hours, after work. But you get to be captain of your ship in terms of the calendar. The majority of the weeks of the program are live online evening classes. So they're currently scheduled for Monday and Thursday nights. You'll log in, maybe you log in after work from your office, maybe you head home, do it over dinner. But it's a chance to connect with faculty live. They might be lectures, they might be debriefing case studies, they might be activities and small breakout room discussions. But they are all live, which gives you, again, that chance to connect, the peer-to-peer learning that makes this program special. And then again, just have to say it because everyone gets excited. The global travel course, 8 to 10 days, focused on our program themes with multiple options to choose from. You do have the yearly calendar in advance. And so if you're thinking about joining us for fall 2026, if you go to the website right now, you'll see the calendar map for 2 years in advance. We know a lot of people are scheduling weddings, have family vacation plans. And so it's nice for folks that, kind of want a sense of how the pacing stacks out, where there might be conflicts. Everything is available well in advance, no surprises. So hopefully you're feeling energized. Hopefully there's no questions because people have already just made their decision. Yes, I'm all in, Elizabeth. So how do I join this cohort? As I mentioned at the beginning, I am the primary recruiter for this, so I am your guide, your shepherd, your partner through the application process. And my goal is to get to know you as well as humanly possible so that I can present your application to our admissions committee. I would say compared to applications generally, it's not that bad, I promise. We do ask for a resume and a transcript from any institution of higher education you have previously attended. There is one short answer essay question. There's also an optional personal statement if that short answer essay just can't quite capture all the reasons you're excited to join us. Test scores are optional, so if you have not taken a GMAT or a GRE, don't bother. Optional means optional, so if you've taken it and you're proud, sure, submit it. But that is not a step that you need to take in order to be eligible to apply to this program. We do ask for one professional recommendation from a current or former supervisor. Again, we're looking to get to know you as well as possible and who you are as a professional in the workplace. And then there is a 30-minute virtual interview that is scheduled once we have your complete application. It is open now. And so again, if you go to the website, check it now. The application for fall 2026 is open. Our next application deadline is February 15th. And by submitting then, you would be automatically considered for merit scholarship funding, which we'll talk about more in a minute. But hopefully this feels like a reasonable lift to complete by February 15th. And if there's questions about any piece of it, how to access the application, what do we mean by the short answer essay prompt, I'm pretty easy to find via email and we can set up a time to talk through it. So I mentioned merit scholarship funding. After we talk about application, the question is always, but Elizabeth, how much does all this fabulous stuff cost? So if you have been looking around at different MBA programs, I'm going to pause for a second because I see a question in the chat, which I said that everyone should do. Yes, on-call responsibilities. Emma, you looked like you wanted to say something. Do you want to take it? Do you want me to take it? I got it. Awesome. So yes, we have a number of people who have on-call responsibilities in different fields, healthcare and otherwise. And so that can mean a bunch of different things. We have had people who have had to pop out of class for a second because they've been on call. The faculty get it; they understand. They understand. If it is an on-call position where you need to be on site, that is something that we could talk about separately. The on-campus weekends are mandatory to be on campus. And so that is something we talk about the scheduling in advance. Would you need to be on site elsewhere for a couple of hours or for all of Saturday? The answer might be different. And so that's something that we talk about one-on-one, case by case. That is also part of why we share the calendar so far in advance so that if people can schedule an on-call shift, a bachelorette party, a something else for a different weekend, if you know far enough in advance, let's try and do that. And if there is a conflict, we had plenty of people that we were able to work it out with over the course of this fall semester.
I think that's exactly right. The only thing I just want to underline what Elizabeth just said. Remember, Elizabeth started by talking about how this is a program for working professionals. And part of what we really like, our core ethos is we want to support you in being successful in completing this program while being a really successful working professional. And so, as Elizabeth said, we ask, because they are mandatory, our enrolled students to really work their schedules to the best of their ability, such that they're trading weekends, they're trading shifts, things like that. So they are here on the on campus weekends. However, we have already had examples of people for whom that was not possible. And we are able on a case by case basis to determine a path forward. Sometimes that's going to require a bunch of extra work from you. So I do want to say that out loud, meaning you may have to change your schedule in other ways. But we we are here to work with you as an individual. And I actually, the biggest thing I would say is I would not let that deter you from applying. But the thing I would do is spend some good time with Elizabeth and really explain what's going on so that she, as someone who would be your academic advisor and be your advocate with the faculty, understands we can bring that to the admissions committee. We can have conversations as early as possible to best support you.
I love this. Yes. Yes. Do not self-select out. That is my personal life mantra. Is do not default to no. Um, yes. So the on-campus learning component, thank you for dropping that in the chat. So the majority of the program is live virtual classes. So most weeks you will log on from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have someone participating from California. I don't know how she's doing it, but she works out the time zone so that she can be free from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that you can participate from anywhere. So we've had people who are doing work travel, but they just make sure in their calendar that the time is blocked, courses are virtual. The only on-campus, in-person learning is those 10 weekends. They always start late Friday afternoon. They always end by lunchtime on Sunday. And so it shakes out again to about 5 times in a calendar year for those 2 years. That would be the on-campus learning component. That said, for folks that are close, if you live in Waltham, if you live in Massachusetts, you are a full graduate student, and so you are welcome to work out at the gym. You can join the Graduate Student Association. Our graduate career development team has a lot of alumni networking programs. And so you are absolutely welcome to use all of the full campus resources. But in terms of times you are required to be on campus, it is only those 10 in-person weekends over 2 years, and then the travel experience abroad. I know there's so many pieces, which is what makes it so great and also impossible to describe concisely. It, so what is included in all of this? So as I mentioned, some of you, I mean, hopefully Bentley is your one and only, but it is possible you are looking at other MBA programs. And as you are doing so, you'll see that different institutions price their programs differently. So it might be by credit, it might be by course, it might be an all-in program cost. For the professional MBA at Bentley, it is a full program cost. So there's one tuition amount, and that full shebang includes all of the courses that were on the slides before, our books, all of the in-country travel, meals, accommodations, excursions, etc. for that 8 to 10 day global travel course, food and events during on-campus weekends. And so again, those 10 weekends that you're coming to campus, we might go to a hockey game or go to an escape room in Boston or go out to dinner in Waltham. All of that is on the program. For our kickoff weekend in August, the one where you saw the folks around the table working with the public health data set, for that weekend, we do put everyone up in a hotel together. It's not orientation, but it's kind of like orientation. And so having fun, making it easy for people to spend some time really getting to know each other that first weekend. So the hotel, food, and all of the experiences for that weekend are included. Personalized coaching. So again, access to our graduate career development team, as well as executive coaches if you select that leadership accelerator um, workshop, and then graduate student fees. So the whole shebang comes to $105,000, which is $21,000 per semester. If you apply by February 15th, which is the next application deadline, you will be automatically considered for merit scholarship funding, which can tick that down. And then we have the fabulous Ron, who's my buddy in student financial services, who can talk to people once you receive an admissions decision and any scholarship funding that comes with it. Ron can talk to you about what the plans are and what the options are to fund the balance.
The thing I'm going to add here is you don't yet know the cost to you, right? This is another one of those, please don't select yourself out. Many of our students $105,000 is nowhere close to what they are personally paying for this program based on the merit scholarship funding. And so I ask you to, as Elizabeth said, if you apply by February 15th, then we're able to give you the full information about what the cost is to you as an individual. And then we should make all the decisions about whether it's financially prudent or you are able to participate. But I really urge you to submit this application, as Elizabeth said, it's pretty easy, in order for you to have the full information when deciding whether this program is right for you, if it does seem like the right academic and kind of growth experience.
And please keep the good questions coming. So in sum, why do I think you should join us? Other than the fact that those of you on the line who I have connected with before, I've really enjoyed our conversations, and those who I haven't, I look forward to enjoying our conversations. But I would say from our students' perspective, number one is the cohort structure. It is a very community-based program. And I know I got a lot of questions. Who am I going to be in class with? Who else is in the program? What industry? What career level? And once they met each other at the first virtual meet and greet, I got all these messages of like, oh, I really like these people. And then they showed up in August and everyone was a little awkward of like, I'm going to spend 2 years with these people. And they started Friday at 4 p.m., I think, Emma. And by Saturday night, we all went out to dinner in Boston. They were like, I love this cohort. And so I think, again, that peer-to-peer learning piece is really central to this and something that can be hard to find in primarily remote programs. And so it's something that is really special about this opportunity at Bentley.
Elizabeth, can I cut in and say one other thing about the community? I'm being so annoying. I'm sorry. It's the thing I will argue I love the most about
Are you
this
going to say
too.
faculty, Emma?
Yeah, I am. The thing I was gonna say is, and that's because I work with them a lot. A lot of programs, even at the MBA level, you're going to be in a big group. You maybe are going to be online. You're not really going to always know your faculty. Our faculty members have committed to being part of this community too. And so when our students are on campus for the weekend, we have faculty members. I think, Elizabeth, we had 10 spots for faculty to come join us at a hockey game. And there was going to be a hockey style brawl to get those 10 spots. Like our faculty so desperately wanted to be there, even ones that aren't teaching until these students, second semester in their second year. So they're not teaching for another year and a half, but they want to get to know the students. They want to already be mentoring. This is really important, not just from a community perspective, like, oh, that's nice, sure. But I will argue from a career acceleration perspective, that can be very helpful. Many of our faculty members are practitioners on their own right, or they are the kind of premier academics in spaces and have those connections to industry that you all might be looking for. And so, not again, I know we're all building community for a lot of different reasons, but if we go back to that core, typically we're looking to do an MBA to accelerate our career. Our faculty's willingness to invest in our students and mentor them is atypical, and I would argue really meaningful for our students' success.
It's been lovely to watch, I have to say. You mentioned expertise in sustainability and emerging technologies. I know I keep harping on those two themes, and again, it's what business leaders have told us, and it's why a lot of students have selected into the current cohort. I love Ryan, who I had mentioned before on the sustainability slide. He's a chemist by trade. And so I love what he's able to bring into the classroom about sustainability. He understands the science behind the decisions. And so if you are a scientist, you're going to be able to engage and enjoy that conversation in a different way. And if you're not a scientist by trade, you're going to leave and go back to your department so much more knowledgeable because of access to Ryan's brain and scholarship. So really the expertise in those two areas, I would say, is unparalleled, but I'm very biased. Another reason you should choose Bentley, the flexible hybrid structure balanced with the in-person experiences. Again, if you're looking at this program and for some reason you're like, oh, this isn't quite a fit, Elizabeth, please talk to me. We do have fully remote programs. We do have fully in-person programs. But as I said at the beginning, I think that the professional MBA is special because it pulls the best of all of those. And so we can have people participate. We've got people from 4 states at the moment. Again, one from Los Angeles. So they're from all over the country, but they also get to meet each other in person. And that is so rare for a graduate level program to have that nice blend. The high degree of specialization, again, flipping that 1/3, 2/3 on its head so that the majority of your coursework is an academic plan you have designed rather than standard non-specialized requirements. The personalized professional coaching, again, our graduate career, I say JCD because that's the acronym, schools love acronyms. The Graduate Career Center team is lovely. I spend a lot of time with them and they are absolutely fantastic at what they do. And then that added leadership accelerator layer, that if you're looking for one-on-one individualized career coaching, in terms of bang for your buck, again, the best homework you can possibly have for a course. And then finally, Bentley's employer and alumni network. And I have to say, I've worked at a number of institutions, including a number here in Massachusetts, and I have been so overwhelmed by how wonderful Bentley alumni are. There have been a number of events I've gone to, either networking events through our Career Center, admissions events for admitted students. We have a handful of Bentley alums who have come back to participate in this program. And the way that Bentley alumni show up for each other is absolutely incredible. And that is a very special network that you get to tap into as a part of this, and is definitely a major selling point if you're weighing your options. But no one cares what I think. They care what the current students think. And so here are a couple of quotes from a couple of current students that we have. Um, I love Ryan. Ryan, who's on the left there, is talking a bit about wanting to move up. Again, that idea of career acceleration, learning skills. I love when we were planning out his spring courses, we had a great conversation. He was so excited. He said, Elizabeth, our company actually just released their internal AI bot for everybody to play with and try and figure out. And he said, I have a few months head start on everybody else because he had been working on projects that included prompt engineering. He had a running head start, which was so exciting for him and the team that's working under him. On the right here, we have Duke, who was talking about the Giving and Receiving Performance Feedback Lab. That was another example of faculty incorporating the headsets. So they had learned some best practices around offering performance feedback, and they actually got to put on the headsets and give feedback to an avatar, and then got real-time feedback on their feedback, which was incredibly meta, but the students loved it. And again, it was a chance for Duke to practice those skills, practice the giving and receiving of feedback, but also do it in a way that let him play with the headsets, play with the technology, and think through how is this something that could be incorporated in the real world in the workplace. Um, I hope I've made it clear. I hope Emma's made it clear. I really want to talk to you all. I'm a people person, which is why I'm in admissions. But the hope is that this is the beginning of the conversation and not the end. And so my email is open. I'm happy to schedule phone calls, Zoom calls. We can go for coffee. There were a handful of people over the summer and this fall that said, I want to see all this tech you're talking about, Elizabeth. Come on over to campus. I'll give you a tour. I'll show you the library. I'm a big nerd. But really, any way that you would prefer to connect, I am happy to do that, so that we can talk about your specific situation, what you're excited about, what your concerns are. Let's talk it through. We have a YouTube channel, and so if you want more sessions like this, you can follow us on YouTube. We have a bunch of different options to see different parts of campus there. We have Instagram, we have LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn, so if you, for some reason, can't get a hold of me via email, which you can find me on LinkedIn. In the middle here, you also see EPE courses. EPE stands for Executive and Professional Education. Some people say, I'm really excited, Elizabeth, but I just can't see myself as a graduate student at Bentley. Let's do a test run. This spring, we have a mini MBA certificate course. It is 3 days on campus, taught by Bentley faculty. Gives you a chance to kind of do a sampling of business essentials and see what it would be like to be, on in here in the classroom. We also have a version of that leadership accelerator course. Again, 3 days on campus, comes with the individual one-on-one executive coaching. That's something that we're offering this spring as an open enrollment course. If a test run like one of those sounds good to you, let me know. Sometimes I can finagle a discount. But that is something, if a test run live on campus would be helpful, that's something we can talk about. My goal is to make the application process as smooth and as easy for you as possible. So if there's questions, I loved the one about the on-call piece. I loved the note about, on-campus learning versus virtual learning. Any of those questions, I'm an open book. I also can connect you with Idris Burdrow, who is our faculty program director. She loves talking to prospective students. So if you have more in-depth questions about the curriculum, about the faculty perspective, Iris is lovely, and I'm happy to connect you with her. She is an equestrian, and so she'll tell you all about her horses in addition to her global management course. I'm really sick of my own voice, so I'm hoping there's some more questions that come through here. But truly, I cannot emphasize enough. I hope to see you in the applicant pool soon. Here is a picture of our current cohort again from that first on-campus weekend as they were all getting to know each other. It is such a great group of people from all different industries, from all different functional areas that are truly dedicated to taking 2 years to spend time together, engaging intellectually, and even just in the first few months here, they're already seeing the fruits of this program. I don't know if you saw Emma, but we had somebody announce a promotion yesterday on LinkedIn. Yeah, I know I haven't seen you yet today. But so things are happening, which is so exciting, and we are really excited for you to potentially join the next cohort that kicks off in fall 2026. Um, Yes, yes, yes. Please, if you feel like the professional MBA is the one, let us get that application in by February 15th. If you are not quite sure yet if this is the one and want to hear about other options, drop me an email. Emma, can you drop my email in the chat super quick? Drop me an email. We'll find a time to connect. I'm happy to run through kind of pros and cons of the other MBA options that we have. Again, we also have specialty master's programs. Depending on your goals, depending where you are in your career, depending on what kind of course modality you want, I am absolutely happy to talk about any of Bentley's offerings. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. This tells me that I am just so clear or else just entirely too chatty.
Nope, I think
Anything
this
to
was
add, Emma?
wonderful information, but I think everyone, again, if you forget, there's two things we need you to remember. One, the professional MBA is designed to purposefully accelerate your career. That will help you remember all the amazing details that Elizabeth just shared with you. And two, if you forget that number one or have other questions, contacting Elizabeth at the email there, is absolutely your best next step. We really want to get to know you, and support you through this process. And so basically you can forget all this. Elizabeth will tell you it again or tell you any of it in more detail. But that's really what to remember.
And thank you. Clear and concise is the goal, but I just get so excited
It
that
is
I
a
know
great
concise is
program.
not my strong suit. Amazing. Well, I'm going to hang out on the line for a little bit in case anyone has a question they're not super excited to ask in front of a group of strangers. But for everyone, I will give you the 7 minutes back to enjoy your lunch hour or brunch hour if you're on the West Coast. But truly, I can't wait to get to know those of you I haven't connected with yet. I can't wait to better get to know those of you that we've had a couple chats already. But it is a really special community to be a part of, and I hope you tossed your hat in the ring. Do not self-select out. That's Elizabeth's life wisdom. Do not self-select out. So yeah, I'll hang out for a few more minutes, but
Thanks, everyone.
thanks for spending some time with us. Let me chat about my favorite MBA program. Ooh, excellent question. Thank you, Brian. Um, That is completely up to you. My recommendation is to go ahead and open it. Open it today and give yourself a gold star. Take a look at the questions, and then yeah, before getting too far into it, before hitting submit, let's chat. I am absolutely open. Um, to chatting. I can help people. I've helped people evaluate if there's a couple people I can ask for a letter of recommendation. Happy to help you be strategic in who you make the ask. If you have a few different answers you could offer for the essay prompt, happy to help you triage what might be strategic. So yeah, absolutely. Drop me an email. Happy to set up a time to chat. Awesome. Any other questions? There's also the Q&A function if you'd like to ask anonymously. Going once, going twice. All right, friends. I think I'm going to go ahead and close the room. But again, my email is open, my LinkedIn DMs are open, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thanks, friends.